Hi friends, so I wanted to do a video to show some modifications for the power yoga with lower body stretching that I'm going to do today on Facebook. Today is April 1st and I'm doing a live video at 5 p.m. So I wanted to offer this so you can see just some poses that you can do if the full posture isn't for you today. As always, yoga is about listening to your body. Try not to pay attention as much as what you think the pose should look like. Form is important, but it should never hurt you. So that's the biggest thing. So some poses that I'm going to do today are, we will be doing hand and knees, which is trying to, and again, it's kind of hard to show with my belly, but even on hand and knees, we don't want the belly to hang. So you really want to engage the core, not arch the back in our hand and knee pose, which is also tabletop. So your back is flat, your core is engaged in tabletop pose, your knees are underneath your hips, your hands are underneath your shoulder blades. That's the correct form. And as you have your hands down, they shouldn't be really tight. They should be spread. You should be pushing into each pointer of the finger. All right, so it's a nice stretch for your hands as well. So hand and knee pose. And then from here, what we will do at some point in our video later today is we will do extensions. So we're going to extend one leg back, one hand forward. All right, and if that's too much for you, the modification is just staying on your both hands, flexing your one foot, toes face down, right? And you're still engaging your core. Your hips are level, so the hip isn't lifted up, all right? So level meaning hips are side by side, toes face down. And as I know I'm looking at you, I'm looking at the camera, but try to have the gaze down. So you're not craning your neck throughout this. And as we do this more, you'll get more comfortable with my cueing. All right, so pressing the floor away, this is step one. You're engaging your core, engaging your whole leg muscle, engaging your glute, which is very important for lower body work. And then from here, if you want more, you extend the hand forward, the thumb is facing up. I know you can't see that, but thumb is up, all right? From here, option to stay or crunch. So you're bringing your left knee in, you're really engaging the core, you're squeezing your elbow into the side body, and you're squeezing your left knee in. Really big crunch, C curve with the spine, and then inhale, you're lengthening. Exhale, you're crunching. Inhale, lengthening, toes face down. Exhale, you're crunching. All right, so we'll be doing that, of course, on both sides. So that is an option. And again, if you can't do the crunching or the lifting of the hand, you just stay, you keep that foot lifted. All right, that could be your step one today. So always honoring where your body is at, all right? And knowing that every day is gonna feel a little bit different. You are gonna feel stronger some days, and some days you will feel a little bit weaker, and it's always okay. We're always gonna meet ourselves with kindness on the mat. We're gonna meet ourselves with kindness in the world. We're gonna meet ourselves with kindness when we look in the mirror, right? So what we say to ourselves when we look in the mirror, are we saying you are beautiful, you are strong, you are important, or are we talking poorly to ourselves? Are we saying negative things, right? So always trying to be and come from a space of kindness to yourself, and then that portrays to the world. All right, so that was one. And then today too, for our live class, if you're joining, have a blanket, have a pillow. You can have a yoga strap if you have it. If you have yoga blocks, you can have it. Just have a lot of tools there just to make you as comfortable as you can be for your power yoga with lower body work. So we went over the tabletop positioning, core engaged. We're not arching the back unless we were doing cow and cats. That's a little bit different. But as far as stabilization, when we do hand and knee pose, the core is engaged. All right, so another pose that I want to show you is, again, downward facing dog's a tough one. especially if it's new to you and maybe you have some shoulder tightness or some hamstring tightness, which is normal. All right, so the pose is how I get into a downward dog is I tuck my toes. I start with my knees underneath my hips, my hands underneath my shoulder blades. And then what I do is I engage my core and I lift from the back of my tailbone like there's a string attached from the top of my tailbone, and it lifts me up to the ceiling. And as it does this, my arms start to press the floor away, and I wrap my forearms by my ears. So they're just hugging in by my ears, and my neck is going to hang gently. And then from here, notice my knees aren't really locked to start. They're bent. And if you're pregnant like me and you're doing this, you make your legs a little bit wider so you have space for belly. All right? So wherever you are, feet are hip distance apart. Your toes are facing the front of your mat. Your heels are directly behind. You're spreading your hands. You're engaging your core. You're lifting your hips up high. Your chest is towards your top of thighs. This is the full expression. If you can, and after you feel a little more loose, maybe your heels start to come down, but it's not necessary. Your whole yoga practice today, your knees can be bent if your hamstrings are tight. We want to just try to release the neck, so try not to crane it up, looking at me or looking at the camera. Try to let it just hang out. All right, so again, this is tough. You want to find equal balance or equal energy from hand and feet, meaning you don't want to be too much on your hands or too much on your feet. Sometimes I'll see people doing downward dog and they're kind of just like bent over, standing, and their hands are down because they want a lot more on their legs. But try to find that equal space. You're gonna build more strength in your core, and you want to think about your core as pulling in tight, and it's releasing the weight that's on your hand and feet. And then we equalize weight from hand and feet. And then still, if this is too much, that's okay. So modification for downward facing dog is to just stay on the knees and then reach those arms forward and rest your head. And that's puppy dog. So it's a really nice pose. It's a really nice stretch for your shoulders. We will try to do both in general today. So that's one breakdown or modification for downward dog. You can also do, if we do three-legged dog, which I'm going to think we are going to do for the hips to open them up. Three-legged dog is downward dog, but with one leg lifted up. So the toes face down, right? My standing leg is bent softly. My toes are still in front of my heel, so my foot is straight, facing the top of my mat. And then from here, if this is again too much, say you have wrist pain and you're not feeling it, right? It's a lot of weight on your two hands and your leg. Your core is still tight, your hips are closed, but you can do this just like that spinal balance we did in the beginning. You can still do this on your knee. You're still doing the same thing. You're pressing through your leg. So that's three-legged dog modification. And then again, even if, say, your wrists are still bothering you with three-legged dog, you can come down onto your forearms. You're still lifting through your heel. You're still doing the same thing. You're just giving your wrist a break. And what you're doing here is you're strengthening your shoulder girdle, which is excellent. So when your forearms are down, arms are directly underneath your shoulders, all right? So there's that. And then we have, and I don't know honestly what it's called. I always call it dog peeing on a tree because I open up the knee, right? And it's probably just bent knee pose or three-legged dog with the knee open. But we'll just call it dog peeing on a tree because that's what it looks like, all right? So the full expression is, again, one leg lifted. We bend the heel or bend the knee, and then the heel comes into the glute, and then we bring the knee out to the side. So my knee's facing, my left knee is facing the camera, so that it's a hip opener. But if this is too much with all the weight on your hand and your knee, same thing. You come down and you open up the knee. You're still getting that hip opening that we want for this pose, right? So opening here. Again, it's feeling too wristy, drop down to the forearms. Keep lifting the knee up. Keep breathing, right? Gaze down. I'm looking at you, or I'm looking at the camera, but keep the gaze down. All right, so those are some modifications. We'll do them again on both sides, but I just want you to see what it looks like. And then even if you're trying this, resetting, you can do this on both sides, right? And then just doing a little bit of hip circles to kind of reset. Great. And then checking in with the wrist. I try to do this throughout practice, but shaking the wrists out, especially if you're trying this with me right now. Wiggle the hands, take each finger to thumb, and then maybe even making big hands or like a big high five and flick the wrist like you're shooting basketball. It's for my basketball players, right? So that nice little extension showing your nails. Maybe not right now, I don't think anyone can get their nails done, but just getting that extension of the wrist. So just gently taking the hands down, and it's a nice stretch for the top of the wrist. So I'm gently taking my left hand, fingers face down, taking my right hand and just taking the wrist down. So nice stretch for the wrist, especially if they're sensitive or if they're just overworked. And a lot of us are doing a lot from home right now, whether that be working, exercising, cooking, cleaning, taking care of our kids, right? We're doing a lot with our hands. So giving them a break. And now I'm pressing my fingertips back. The heel of my hand is pressing forward. Really nice stretch. So doing that with both wrists. High fives, press the fingertips back towards the back wall. Same thing, all right? All right, getting back to it, showing you some of the poses we'll do today. Another one is I really want to try to do this. This can be tough if you don't have a yoga block and you can't reach the floor. So this is almost like standing splits, but it is, I'd say almost like a warrior three, but with our hands down. So how it looks is big, nice hamstring stretch. If you have a block, you can rest the block underneath. You're gonna think halfway lift, flat back. If you have two blocks, even better. But if you don't have any blocks and you can't reach the floor and lift one leg, right, this is the full posture. So I'm gonna show you what it looks like first. So my left leg is extended. My standing leg is bent a little bit. I'm pressing through my heel. And I'm engaging my core. I'm pressing the floor away. I'm on my fingertips here. And then from here, what I'm going to do is just lift through my heel. Little pulses here to activate the glute. And then I'm gonna gently bring it down. Come into halfway lift, press the floor away, inhale, and exhale, come into forward fold. But again, this is hard to reach the floor, it really is. So if you have a yoga block or two, you can use them pressing the floor away. It's really so much easier. It makes it more accessible if you have something underneath your hands. If you have some books you can use. Anything here. Press the floor away, inhale. Little pulses. If you don't have yoga blocks, you can use a chair. If you have a chair, bring your kitchen chair. Bring a foldable chair. You have a beanbag chair. I have one right here. Same thing. Press the chair away, lift one leg, close the hip, keep the standing leg soft, little pulses. Both legs down, press the floor away, nice stretch of the hamstrings, press through the heels and the toes. Inhale, exhale, forward fold. So use a chair for this. You can use blocks, you can use pillows, you can use books. Anything that's gonna help support you, keep your back flat, and let you get a nice stretch in your hamstrings. So with that, another stretch, pressing the floor away, is We're going to bend the knee again, that dog peeing on the tree, same thing, we're lifting up the knee. Really lifting up the knee towards the ceiling. Big hip stretch. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Pressing through the base of your standing foot. Keep the core tight. Inhale, exhale. And making circles with the knee. We may do this in three-legged dog too. And change those circles. So that standing leg's really getting a good workout here. Feels really nice. So doing this on both sides, of course. So switching and then doing the opposite side. All right, just purpose of the video and timing, I'm just doing one side. All right, so there's that. Really great pose and great modification options. I am going to do, this is a popular pose, pigeon pose, but can be very intense to get into. So with pigeon pose, last pose that I think we need a modification for. So pigeon pose is the full pose, and I'll show you from the side, is taking the one leg forward. This is my right, sweeping the heel forward, dropping the hips evenly down. I'm making it look easier than it is because it is hard. I'm pressing the floor away. I'm keeping my back left toes tucked to get a nice hip flexor extension stretch here. And then I'm turning my hips, trying to keep them even from the front. So I'm going to show you this from the front view, how it looks. And this is why pillows and blankets, blocks, whatever you need, any kind of prop is so important because it really helps the pose. So from the front view, that right knee is extended straight forward. You can't see, but those back toes are still tucked. My hips are level. So this hip is facing down, this hip is facing forward. If you have a block and you have a lot of space between your right butt cheek and the floor or a pillow, that's where you place it. It really helps to kind of allow you to get into the pose. Try in pigeon pose to not, and I see this a lot, and it's obviously easy to do. People just shift kind of on their side, and they're like, ooh, and it's tough, and I get it, but try not to do that. So shift forward, meaning your hips are square to the floor, your shoulders are square to the floor. You take a block, a pillow, anything you need, and place it under that butt cheek. From here, you can stay here pressing the floor away for pigeon pose, or you come down to forearms. Still squaring the hips, try to keep them even, both sits bones side by side, both butt cheeks or sits bones side by side, and then maybe you come down full for the full pose. So that's pigeon pose. The modification for it, if you can't get down like that, no worries, I get it, is just sitting when we do pigeon pose and doing figure four. And you're getting the same stretch, you're just getting it a little bit different way. So sitting down, you can sit on a chair or the floor. You place one leg over, flex the toes, make sure it's not right on the kneecap, and then lift the chest. Big stretch, feels wonderful. You're still getting the same thing. So last one I want to show you is low lunge. We are going to do this today, and it's really nice to see the variations of it. I love blocks for low lunge, and the reason being is it's super hard for some to get their foot forward and get their hands to touch the floor. There's just a lot going on. You might have lower back pain, your knee might hurt, whatever it is, right? So if you have blocks, it helps to lift the floor away. You can see my right knee is coming straight out of my hip. My left knee is pointing down, right out of my hip. What blocks do is it helps bring a little bit of height so the chest is lifted. We're not facing down as much, all right? But if you don't have blocks, if you can reach the floor, great. Just make sure the knee is over the ankle. So from the side, meaning the knee isn't passing the ankle too much, right? So we're lifting here. If you have blocks, pillows, use it. Keep the knee down, that's the modification. If you have a blanket and this knee is tender, put a blanket underneath that bottom knee. All right, press the floor away, really nice stretch, keep the core engaged, sink the tailbone down, inhale, exhale. And then today what we'll do is option to stay with knee down or tuck toes for the full low lunge. Really big hip flexor extension or stretch if you feel that. So from here, inhale, exhale. And then what we'll do, and I'm gonna try to do this, is a nice little, it's a little flow. So we go from low lunge to sweeping that front foot forward and back to extension. So that's the modification of that. Low lunge, shift forward, sweep back to extension. How this looks from the full variation is low lunge, sweep the leg back, three-legged dog. Low lunge, sweep forward. This is the power aspect, getting the heart rate up. Low lunge, sweep, three-legged. Again, low lunge, reset, sweep, three-legged. All right, so modification, I'll show you one more time. You're still doing it. Low lunge, knee down, sweep the leg back, press through the heel, legs active. Low lunge, bring that foot forward, sweep back, three-legged. Okay, I'm trying to think what else. You may not even do all these, but I want to show you some really great stretches. The other one that I probably should do is, I think I might have done this in my last live video, is this really great hamstring stretch. I really like blocks for this because it just helps get in the posture, but you extend one leg straight out, the toes are flexed, right? And you see my left knee is right under my left hip. I hinge from the hips. That's why blocks are pillows. If you can use those, bring them with you to help support you. Fills the gap of space between the floor because it's intense. We don't want to hyperextend this extended leg. We really want to make sure the knee's soft. So lengthen, right? My toes are tucked. I'm flexing. It's a huge hamstring stretch. We lengthen the top body forward, meaning I'm hinging from the hips, lengthening my head towards my toes, but keep a tiny bend in the extended leg knee because you don't want to hyperextend, because you will get an injury that way. All right, so lengthen here, breathe. Good, and get a nice foot stretch by tucking the toes and then straightening the foot. Feels really nice in the front of the foot. So there's that, all right? You can do these both on both sides. If you need to rewatch the video, do that. So there's a lot of things we're gonna do today on our knees. So please have a blanket or a pillow. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe to my YouTube, which is Healing with Yoga. Please request more if you want to see more or different things. I would like to do, especially during this stressful time, I'd like to do maybe a gentle yoga or a slow yoga to kind of just focus on the breath and just being in the pose a little bit longer. But that can be in the future. My name on Facebook is Jolene Aaron Messner, and that's Joline, and then the last name is ARAN-MESSNER. So as always, take care of yourselves. Enjoy this time where you are safe at home, and make some time to breathe every day and smile. Namaste.